Hey there, Friartown. I'm George Guay, and welcome to another episode of Just Say Guay. A lot has happened in Friartown since the last episode, and in pro sports as well. Let me start off with Providence College Friars hockey. Right now, we are 9th in the nation and 2nd in Hockey East standings behind Boston College after our Friendship 4 tournament in North Ireland. In addition, Eric Foley, he led Hockey East in scoring last November with 11 points, and right now he is on a 6-game point streak. In addition, this weekend we'll face off with University of New Hampshire in a home-and-home series, which is a big Hockey East matchup, and everyone is. In my opinion, our offense could step it up a little. When I looked at the points totals, I noticed that Jacob Bryson, a Buffalo Sabres prospect, is 4th in points on our team. I picked him to be most improved player of the year on this team, so maybe I'm right, but I don't think a defenseman should be 4th on that list. Now, Hayden Hockey's playing really well this season. He's only given up 2.61 goals per game. However, as the season goes on, the schedule gets tighter, and each game matters even more and more. I think that number should go down. You notice how Nick Ellis and John Gillies, when they were here, and I think it's time for Hayden's turn. Now, moving on to basketball. Our team only has one loss right now, and the game against Clarkson, in my opinion, was too close. But thank goodness we have Kyron Cartwright, because he stepped up and hit a game-winning buzzer beater three-pointer. And we did beat Boston College by a good amount, too. In my opinion, the best player on this team right now is Kyron Cartwright. Averaging 14 and 7 is just incredible. We always have had good point guards here in Friartown, and it's glad he's keeping up the tradition. Also, Rodney Bullock is playing really well. He's 1st in scoring and 2nd in rebounding, I believe. Now, I picked Alpha Diallo before the season started that he'd be the most improved player on this team, and I think that he is. He's definitely showed his perimeter defense is a very strong part of his game, and in addition, he's 3rd in scoring on the team. Now, it also seems that this team has great chemistry. When I was watching the tournament at Madison Square Garden, Drew Fonts and Tom Plenick both scored, and the team got so fired up. Very impressed with how that tournament went. However, given the teams that were in that tournament, I think if we did not win it, it would have been a bust. I was so proud of how we handled Washington, and we destroyed St. Louis in that game as well, in the finals. Also, coming up, after tonight's game against Ryder, we have at URI, and we're hoping to extend the streak to 8 years in a row where they haven't beaten us. Every game comes down to the wire. Last year, Jalen Lindsay was the hero, and my freshman year, Ben Bentel tipped it into the buzzer. Who's next? It could be Alpha, it could be Khalif, it could be anyone, because every game there comes down to the wire. It's loud, and I'm going, and I'm excited, and I think we're going to win. Now, moving on to the Boston Celtics, my favorite pro team. Wow, a 16-game winning streak. It wasn't surprising, though, to me that they came to an end because it seems just like the Golden State Warriors had this year, every team was getting their best shot. We almost lost to the Dallas Mavericks. I was more embarrassed that we almost lost to them. But, hey, a loss is good for them. And I think the loss against Detroit showed that this team really needs a rim protector because DeAndre Drummond just went for 26 and 22, I believe, both a career high on him. I don't mind if a big man gets 26. It's going to happen. And you got guys like Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, but 22 rebounds. Wow. And it said he was the first person to do that in a Boston versus Boston Celtics since Wilt Chamberlain. So Andre Drummond, excuse me. I don't know why I've been calling him DeAndre. But he joins elite company. Now, I think this team has had a lot of players so far that have played really well that I'm not expected to play well, such as Aaron Baines and Marcus Morris. And after the way the season's gone so far, a lot of people are saying maybe we should trade Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to get a guy like Anthony Davis. I think you should just keep them as they are. These guys are only 20 and 19, and I'm older than Jason Tatum, which is just a real scary thought to think about. 2 years ago he was in high school dominating, and now he's guarding Carmelo Anthony. It's crazy how fast time can go with him. But if one of them was up for a trade, I would rather trade Jason Tatum. I think Jaylen Brown's going to be an elite scorer in a few years, not that he isn't right now. And I think that Kyrie Irving could win MVP. However, this team has to keep up what they're doing all season long. Because clearly, statistically, the MVP right now would be either James Harden or Giannis Antetokounmpo. But given the fact that they lost Gordon Hayward and the best player after him is Al Horford, the Celtics are in for a good season, and Kyrie Irving's going to lead the way. I picked Brad Stevens to win Coach of the Year before the season started because I think he's long overdue winning it, and I think he's going to win it. Now, other thoughts about the NBA. I'm sort of not surprised the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder's season is going, given the fact they have so many egos on that team. And everywhere Carmelo goes, except the Olympics, the team does not do well. Now, I think the Warriors, although they're a little rusty at times, I think they're going to figure it out. It's like how LeBron did a few years ago. A lot of guys paced the NBA season, and they still have Kevin Durant, Steph, Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. I think they'll figure it out, and they're my pick to go to the West. And I think the Celtics could go to the NBA Finals. It depends on that hit on our former player, Isaiah Thomas. Now, another thought I have on the NBA, although his team isn't doing so well, Chris Dunn is a Providence College alum, has played so much better this year than last year. Last year, his minutes were so inconsistent, but this year, he's the starting point guard. He has the keys to the team, and he's averaging 11, 5, and 4. And I saw on my phone this morning, I didn't look at the numbers, but he had 2 career highs last night. So keep it up, Chris. You're making Friartown proud. Hopefully we can get more NBA players from Providence. Now, moving on from the NBA to the New England Patriots. They have stepped up big time and won 7 in a row and went from 2-2 after a field goal loss to the Carolina Panthers to a 9-2 record, 7 in a row. And I believe that although Tom Brady's numbers are better than Carson Wentz, I think they're going to give Carson Wentz the MVP just because he's more valuable to that team. And no one before the season started thought that the Eagles would have any business going to the playoffs, let alone be a Super Bowl contender. Now, the Patriots defense has given up less than 17 points in the last 6 games. They hammered the Raiders, and I was at the game against the Dolphins, and the defense gave up less points than 17, although the Dolphins, I believe, had more than 17, but that was the offensive line's fault, and there was a reason why he's the backup. But in terms of their defense, I think they're playing really well. Gilmore came back, made a pick against the Dolphins, but I would believe that this team is for real on the defensive side of the ball when they lock down Antonio Brown and hopefully the whole Pittsburgh Steelers, because I think that's going to be a Super Bowl ticket preview. It's going to be the AFC Championship game. I believe in Foxborough, hopefully. I don't think the Patriots have any problem going to Pittsburgh, but we definitely want that game back in Foxborough. I think it just shows it's amazing how well the team's done without Julian Edelman and on offense, Chris Hogan for a couple weeks. And unfortunately, they just lost special teams man Nate Ebner when they faked the punt and gave the ball to him and he ran out of bounds. Now, moving on to the big thing in the NFL recently, Eli Manning, the quarterback that ruined my middle school years with those 2 Super Bowl wins, has just been benched for Geno Smith. And I can see why he was so upset about it. I think Ben McAdoo's gone after this year, to be honest. I don't think it's completely his fault for what's going on in New York, but I think it's somewhat his fault because I remember my senior year when the Patriots just started off 2-2, not a bad record. Did they have a horrible game against Kansas City on Monday Night Football? Absolutely. However, everyone was saying that the Patriots should move on from Brady and Belichick, saying they were done, and look what happened. They won 2 Super Bowls since. If I was Eli Manning, I'd want to stick it to the Giants and I'd go to a division team, but that's just me. I don't think he'll do that, though. And I think it just shows that the Giants are going to go after a quarterback in the draft, whether it's Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. Now, I think each one of them is a lose-lose because every quarterback that's come out of USC in the last decade, Matt Leinart, Matt Barkley, and Mark Sanchez have all been a bust. And I think if you go with Baker Mayfield, I think every single defensive end and linebacker is going to want to rip his head off for how cocky he is as a player. I think it's going to be worse than when Johnny Manziel was playing. People didn't really like Johnny Manziel because of what he did on the field, but I think Baker Mayfield's worse as a person on and off the field. Now, that's all we have for today for Just Say Guay. Hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you.